Hi there. I'm watching Shaw TV, Channel 4, Saturday morning, and I'm just wondering, has your TV program, Channel 4, been hijacked by some crazed political organization? Freedom for All? I mean, this is not this is kind of strange, and I'm just wondering why you've got this Freedom for All thing on TV, public programming. It's really, really strange. Get it off the airline. It's weird. Bye.
I'm a chemtrail guy, and I'll tell you why. Look up in the sky, white streaks flying by. Got the time lapse so I can capture the blast. Here's the proof for the confused noobs. You want a pair of puppets, it's up high in the sky. It's all water vapor, why would they lie? Little ice crystals hanging out cause it's dry. Dissipate slow so they don't realize. Living in a fog like a bump on a log. Don't you worry, spray text on the jaw. Keep your mind closed, not loose on a tether. Which one you like, which...
Good evening and welcome to Freedom Free for All, the show that pokes the New World Order in its all-seeing eye. My name is Josh Steffler, and tonight Greg Hill joins me as we broadcast live from Freedom Studios here under the heavily chemtrailed skies of Victoria, British Columbia. Tonight, our guest is Elana Freeland, an author and researcher. We're going to be talking about geoengineering, deep-level conversation on geoengineering and the space shield.
I'm so looking forward to this.
This is going to be good. This is going to be good. You've been watching our show for a while. You know chemtrails are real. You know geoengineering is happening. We're going to dig deep this time. As always, we like to do new media shout-outs to help and collaborate with all of our friends in new media that are helping bring the New World Order down. Guys like Dan Dix of Press for Truth, Luke Radowski of We Are Change, Richard Heathen of Liberty Machine News, Kevin Proto of Locals Supporting Locals, Suzanne Marr of Bye Bye Blue Sky, Sophia Smallstorm of About the Sky.
Yeah, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media.
Josh Sigurdson, Owen Smith of the Cannabis Digest, and of course, we can't forget the New Agora. There is a June issue out now. You can find your copy in cannabis dispensaries or health food stores all across British Columbia. If you are a critical thinker, this magazine will help you cut through the fake news and government disinformation. Or if you're one of our 6 million viewers online, you can go to newagora.ca, talk to them, tell them Freedom Free for All sent you, and you can actually get a hard copy of this magazine. And boom! Cannabis Digest, another magazine that's printed locally in Victoria. All of your cannabis news. There's usually a nice coloring page on the front. Support new media.
Lots of good stuff in there.
Tons of good stuff. Educate yourself. Now we are going to go to an update from our good friend Josh Sigurdson over at World Alternative Media. Then we are going to come back and discuss a few articles with our guest, Elana Freeland. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we're proud partners with the guys at Freedom Free for All and We Are Change Victoria. In the last few weeks at WAM, we have done a lot. We have done extensive work with G. Edward Griffin after hosting an event here in Winnipeg. We went over the cashless society as the banking system, the globalist banking system, attempts to enslave us in debt servitude even further. It's a globalist endgame. We also exposed George Soros' ties with gold money. We went into Arizona accepting gold as money, how the US is preparing to shoot down North Korean missiles. We've showcased a few videos by the leader of the Libertarian Party of Canada, Tim Moen, on Maxime Bernier as he puts an offer forward for Maxime Bernier to actually join as the leader of the Libertarian Party in Canada. And we also are getting ready to head down to Bozeman, Montana to cover the Red Pill Expo. And we've got so much more coming. We hope you stay tuned. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at World Alternative Media, as well as at Josh Sigurdson on Steemit, and we'll see you next week.
Welcome back. So this is the non-Shaw portion where we can say whatever we want. We're going to discuss articles because thanks to the CRTC and Shaw censorship, we're not allowed to discuss these news articles on their corporate media television station, but it's free speech. Free speech. So the first one we've got, it's all geoengineering related. These are, let's bring up the Guardian portal. They've got this portal on the Guardian website all about the environment, geoengineering news. So to suggest that geoengineering is not, it's just conspiracy theory, why is the Guardian have numerous articles talking about this, promoting it, saying how we need to do it.
Going back years.
Going back quite a few years.
Years and years.
This is the beginning when the chemtrail activists and the geoengineering activists told you, we have been on the show telling you that they are going to use this, eventually telling you that it's to save the planet from climate change.
Oh yeah, look.
Stop global warming.
If you go down to February 2015, you can see this one, the headline is, the CIA asked me why controlling the climate, controlling the climate, this is why we should worry, Alan Robot.
So go check out The Guardian yourself, find those articles, share them around, and destroy the logical fallacies that are in there. The next one is U.S. scientists launch world's biggest solar geoengineering study.
But it's not real.
This is from the Guardian
not
website. It's not real. It's all conspiracy theory. It's not, though. This is the thing. Like they're talking about, this is the Harvard study that David Keith is involved in. How much is it? $10 billion? $20 million. So that's just a fraction. And they say that it's going to start within weeks. Well, that's a lie.
10 billion.
This is, this is part of the Green Super Fund, the $1 trillion Green Super Fund that goes to the UN. And they've been doing these tests forever. We're going to go, when we go back to the Shaw portion, you're actually going to see pictures that our viewers have sent in from our chemtrailed skies today. So for them to say that the study's going to start in weeks, no, the study's been, we're going to be happening a while. Elana, what do you think about that Harvard study that have you looked into this Harvard study, David Keith, talking about how we need to geoengineer the planet to save it?
Oh, I feel like when it came out in January and February, I felt like I was having a deja vu because we've been in this now for 20 years. Mm-hmm. We've been in it since the late 90s under Project Cloverleaf. And I just, all I see is that they're normalizing it. And there is a pattern in history. I have a master's in historiography, writing histories, and so I love history. And I have noticed that many political acts are done after 19 years, and I wonder about that. If they just sort of set up a schedule and say, okay, let's wait 19 years. We'll do 19 years of experiments in the skies and deny all of it and make fun of people who call them conspiracy theorists if they happen to notice. And then at the 19-year mark, we'll legitimize it and make it public. And that they always trot out David Keith. I don't know what happened to Ken Caldera. He's usually the other pony that they trot out. But to me, it's possible that they're going to add to what they've already been doing. Yes, because now they've legitimized it. The public knows they can do just about anything and say, this is what we said we were going to do.
And it's to save the planet. Well, how could you be against it?
Exactly. And as you know, in my book, I make very clear that is not the agenda at all.
Yeah, we got the book
actually,
right here, actually.
Yeah, we do a little zoom in, actually.
Let's zoom into that book. Chemtrails, HAARP, and the Full Spectrum Dominance on Planet Earth. Fantastic book. So let's go to the next article. Bring up the one on pulsar-based navigation system to get tested on the space station. We're going to be talking about the pulsars later on in the show. Do you know anything about this, Elana?
No, I'm looking forward to learning from you.
Okay, this is an interesting, weapon, potentially has something to do with why they're ionizing the atmosphere.
Well, there's a really cool quote here. Well, cool in quotes. It says, quote, "You can imagine having a system of clocks, very accurate clocks, distributed all over the sky. In the same way that we use atomic clocks on GPS satellites to navigate our cars and ourselves on the surface of the Earth, we can use these clock signals from the sky, from pulsars, to navigate spacecraft anywhere in the solar system.
They're essentially space chemtrails.
Yeah.
Space trails.
Now, is that what they are? Really?
It seems like that's what they are, yeah.
Do they describe them? I mean, these aren't the rocket trails, right? These are not the
sounding
rocket trails.
No, I don't think that's
Well, what this goes on to say, the idea of navigating via pulsar is not new, but the technology to autonomously detect and time the flashes is a recent development. Once it's attached to the station, the nicer telescope and the sextant software will run for an initial 18-month demonstration mission. So, right.
So
you have to be aware that they've already spent billions of dollars on this technology.
Yeah.
And they've been planning it for a very long time. In order to get this stuff in the sky, it looks like they're using SpaceX as a potential cargo ship for some of their new supplies and telescopes that are coming in.
Well, we've also got this next one, which is self-replicating 3D printers could build moon bases and fight global warming. Now, so they're talking about sending these 3D printers to the moon to harvest the minerals and the materials that are on the moon to self-replicate themselves. But Adam showed me this very interesting quote at the very end of this article. If we can go down to the very bottom, they talk about how, where is it here? Just go back. Let's see. Here it is. The very last sentence. Humans could also build space shields to protect the Earth against solar radiation, which could further combat the planet's warming trend. So they build them on the moon, but, they might use them here, too. They not might use them. They're using them.
Elana,
So
what do you think about that?
They sneak those things in there.
Well, I mean, again, what they're doing, what all these articles do, is they try to appeal to the public as being something with the public in mind. And the words weapons are rarely used except in very narrow contexts. This 3D printer is very much on my mind. And it isn't so much what they're saying it's for. What did they say it was for on the moon?
For building moon bases.
Yeah, that's
self-replicating moon bases.
Yeah, because this 3D printing is certainly going on at CERN, and I'm wondering if they're just sort of just pre-programming us, putting the term out there, 3D printing, in another space context. That's what I've noticed since the normalizing and legitimizing of geoengineering began in January, which is when it began, is that it seems to me there have been a lot of articles coming out about various projects going on in space. Yeah. So I would assume that they are trying to normalize space news with us more so than they were before. Now that everybody's eyes will be on the sky more because they know that the Harvard study, the geoengineering, will be going on. So it seems to me that they're just sort of petting the kitty, nice public kitty. Don't get concerned. This is just all really great stuff that we have on the shelf, and we're going to start bringing it out. That's kind of how I look at it.
Well, and let's go to the main part, the main few stories that have come from New York Times, essentially in January, that are promoting and pushing the normalization of geoengineering. The first one is, to curb global warming, science fiction may become fact. And this was an article from April, recently, in 2017, where they clearly discuss controlling the weather, blocking out the sun to save the Earth. So this is one of actually a couple that we've got from the New York Times. Scientists, they're begging scientists to look into this seriously because the climate is changing at an alarming rate and we need to do something. You know, the next one is that White House urges research on geoengineering to combat global warming. Now, if you think Donald Trump is, you know, on our side when it comes to faked global warming and stopping geoengineering, this is an article from January 10th as well. So it's the Trump White House urging research on geoengineering. Now, maybe it's the deep state, maybe it's not, but again, we've got New York Times normalizing the use of geoengineering, climate change, to stop climate change. And the last one we've got is it okay to tinker with the environment to fight climate change? Another New York Times article. This is from April 18th of this year. So they're really heavily pushing this idea to normalize chemtrails. They're going to make it sound like, oh, this is just started.
It's just tinkering.
It's just started. We're not really, it's not going on everywhere.
Is it tinkering, Elana?
No, no, it's weaponizing the entire environment. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine how citizens have been so dumbed down now for 5 decades by the media, and how distraught they are over all the different news reports of climate change and extreme weather and global warming and methane gas and the ozone layer and on and on and on, and yet the word military agendas, it's never said. I listened carefully at the Paris conference in 2015, December, the COP21.
The climate accord.
Just for one person to mention military agendas, and never happened.
None of them.
Never happened in a week of talks. So, what we need to do is educate the public that there's a lot going on. Yes, there is global warming. Yes, there is climate change. But is it carbons? Absolutely not.
No, it's the stuff that they're spraying in the sky. It's the ions.
And is there a financial motive in order to manipulate the climate? I would have to say yes.
Yes, there has to be, because just think of the money it takes to lay these trails every day, despite the fact that most of the commercial jets now are laying the trails in the JP8 fuel. And therefore, who's paying for that? Well, the passengers are primarily paying for it. But it's very expensive to do this, this ionizing of the sky. You said the exact words that are the very, very important part of this. The ionization of the sky, all that means is that the sky has been turned into an antenna, into a battery, into a condenser, however you want to use an electrical term. This means that our sky, our atmosphere, our lower atmosphere in the troposphere, is now sort of a mini ionosphere. And that's what HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, was all about back in those experimental years from, I'd say, from the late 90s until 2013, when HAARP closed, quote unquote. For a while it did, but it has been recalibrated now and is back online with many, many other HAARPs, many other ionospheric heaters, small and large, mobile and stationary, because this sky has to be kept ionized for all the military, industrial, intelligence complex operations.
Well, we've got a little video to show later on in the show about what they plan on doing with the ionized. We want to do it now. I'm hearing from control. Okay, let's show that video. Adam's got this digital array. So I don't know if you can see this, Elana, but this is a Lockheed weapon where what you're seeing on the screen is this missile shield where they've got this digital projector going out. This is the reason why they want to ionize the sky, right? They can use this. I don't know. Can you see this, Elana?
No, but I think I know which film it's the Lockheed Martin one,
It's
right?
the Lockheed Martin unprecedented missile defense anti-air warfare mission.
Yeah, with the plasma shield.
Yeah,
does it have that cool heavy-duty rock background?
Yeah, we're not playing the music That's the one.
Yeah,
so this
they
is
love to do this.
This is clearly what they plan on doing. It's not just to save the planet. There is a clear military agenda behind these chemtrails and geoengineering. And more video to go. So this is the space fence that we're going to talk about later. You're seeing the space fence up in there. Again, more military defense projects utilized by the ionization of the atmosphere, the weaponization of these chemtrails being sprayed around the sky. It's the space fence. So we're going to get into that with Elana. We're going to do one more. Okay. The Bay. This is, what one is this, Adam? The ballistic missile? The Bay systems, Elana, have you seen this one? Did Adam send you this video?
I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
This is the one you sent to Adam. They're beaming stuff into outer space. Here's a laser. Massive laser. And it's going to outer space, so...
It looks like it's building something.
Look, it's... Oh, man. Yeah, this is... So, anyways, we're going to end this part. We're going to go to the Shaw portion with Elana Freeland in 1 minute. We've got a short video by our good friend, Dr. Tim Ball, and then we will be back for our Shaw portion with Elana Freeland. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, I'm Josh Steffler from Freedom Free for All Television. I'm here with Dr. Tim Ball. We've just had a really good show about climate change, and often, Tim, the argument comes up. You see it on Facebook, social media. 97% of the scientists agree that climate change is an issue. So in a minute or less, can you destroy that 97% argument and we can put it to bed?
Yeah, very simply, that's a consensus, and science isn't about consensus. As Einstein said, I can have 100 things that prove me right. One thing proves me wrong, it's done. But consensus is a political argument. It grew out of Al Gore's comment that the science has settled, the debate is over. So once the majority, that's it. But the number was the 97% number was actually created by John Cook out of Queensland University in Australia. And what he did was that he took 11,400 and some journal articles, and he identified them as being pro global warming or not. And it was published as that, in the 97% figure, and of course Obama's repeating it. But people like Lord Monckton and others went and broke it down, and by their own definition, only 41 of the 11,400 articles were pro-global warming. And so that meant that it was actually, what they put out as 97% result was actually 0.3%.
So it's just propaganda.
It's just propaganda, and it was deliberately created. The journal that published the article withdrew the article. And so
there you have it. The argument's destroyed.
Yes.
FreedomFreeForAll.com, 97% of the scientists don't agree. Check out Dr. Tim Ball at timball.com, Freedom Free for All at freedomfreeforall.com. Be safe and be free. Welcome back to Freedom Free for All. If you're watching this show on Shaw TV, you're watching a pre-recorded program. We broadcast this show live every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. on our website, freedomfreeforall.com, and on our YouTube channel. Feel free to log into YouTube where you can participate in the live chat. As you can see, Greg is going to be watching the live chat. We'll take questions for our guest. Tonight's guest is Elana Freeland. So we're going to be talking about geoengineering, and let's just let Elana introduce herself to our guests. Elana, welcome to the show.
I am a writer. I was a teacher for years. I started out this whole project of looking at HARP and chemical trails and now the space fence. All of this began with my friendship in Santa Fe, New Mexico with Clifford Carnicom, independent scientist who was at one time very active and out in front in this movement. Mm-hmm. revealing, exposing what was coming down with the chemical trails. There was, of course, aluminum, barium, strontium, titanium, various chemicals from, and we still argue about it in the chemtrail movement, from the jet fuel or from supplementary systems, and what the objective was. Clifford worked very hard to discover those objectives, and he came up with seven different operations, all military in nature, which may be surprising to your listeners, that we have been told that geoengineering is entirely about solar radiation management, SRM, deflecting, reflecting the sun back into space so that our planet is not trapped in warming due to carbons, etc.
Right.
And all of this is a huge cover story for very military objectives. And I really resent that the public is not being told. And so that's what I've been now. I've been in this movement now for over 5 years, writing the Chemtrails HARP and the Full Spectrum Dominance of Planet Earth. And now I've finished the next book, the sequel to it, Under an Ionized Sky, from chemtrails to space fence lockdown. And I will be writing a third book, which will make this a trilogy, and then I think I will be done and leave it to others. But the third book must be written because it's about synthetic biology, which has everything to do with this ionizing of the sky and the chemicals and nanoparticulates of metals, sensors, microprocessors, biological specimens that we are inhaling and ingesting in our food, water, and air.
The future that is here today.
Well, for our viewers at home, most of you have probably heard of the term chemtrails or geoengineering already. You've watched the show. We've had numerous women on the show talking about chemtrails, Suzanne Marr, Sophia Smallstorm. You look up in the sky and you see these lines that don't disappear. It's not the same sky as you remember as a kid. Paul's going to show some pictures here. We've got some pictures from our viewers that we can bring up. Not right now, though. We're going to go over Paul's notes. Okay, so the chemtrails, what are they? We're about to talk about that with Elana. They're lines in the sky. They spray something. It blocks out the sun. It spreads across the sky. It turns it into a spider web. It turns our bright blue sky into a milky white, ionized
and it's a new phenomenon
sky
for the last 2 decades, essentially. I mean, when I was about 10 years old, living back in Calgary, Alberta, I remember we used to have blue skies all the time. But then all of a sudden the jets, you'd always look for the jet. And you're like, whoa, yeah. And ever since that amount of time, we've been totally inundated. And you can see a lot of patterns as to why they would be spraying, especially in light of the global warming and climate change references in the news and the media and society as a whole, with the concern around the climate. And so solar radiation management, or geoengineering, also known as chemtrails, is a phenomenon in the sky where we see spraying by jet aircraft.
And it's been constantly derided in media recently, up until recently, as just a conspiracy theory, that people that think this is, they're not real. They're just contrails. It's water vapor. And yet now you're seeing in New York Times, Times Colonist, all these mainstream papers are talking about how we might need to geoengineer the planet to save the Earth.
And I'd say to our viewers that are watching this in Shaw, you missed the first part of the show.
Yeah.
We went deep, and we with our guest Elana Freeland. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this on the show right now. So be sure to keep watching and stay tuned. But you can catch more meat on this subject.
So let's show our viewers what a few of these chemtrails look like. Let's go to Paul. Are we ready with Paul? Okay, let's go live to Paul.
All right, so it's June 6th today, and I look at my phone and the weather forecast says that it's supposed to be sunny. But this is the map of Victoria. This is the map of Victoria, and what you can see here is the next picture. This is from someone in Victoria. This is a viewer in Victoria. He's sent this to us.
Turn on the mic.
And here's the picture of our viewer in Victoria that sent us this first picture. So what we got here is a chemtrail that came in first. This chemtrail comes in second. Here we go. Let's see the next picture.
All right.
And then he comes in right after and he starts blitzing the skies. So I thought it was supposed to be a sunny day. Now they call these clouds. And the next picture here just shows what it looks like after. It's just a big haze. I just want to swim in that haze. This X marks the spot. And this is what it looks like at the end of the day. So this was Monday, June 5th. X marks the spot, Victoria, BC. So you can take these pictures, you can take a look at it at the end of it. Parallel lines, it turns into a haze at the end of the day. Here's a picture of the arrow. Actually, this one was from a guy in Langford. Thank you. He sent this to us. It's an arrow pointing to Langford, because Langford is the home and the king of Victoria. So this is everywhere that you see in Victoria. We're going to bring you more pictures. Send us your comments at freedomfreeforall.com. And back to you, Josh.
Thanks, Paul. And thanks to our viewers for sending those pictures in. Keep your eyes on the sky. So let's go deep with Elana now. Elana, we were talking earlier about the space fence. Maybe you could give our viewers just the cliff notes, so to speak, of what the space fence is, and why do people in Victoria care about this?
First, I'd like to finish your bringing up the chemical trails that lead to a cloud cover. Sure, I just want people to know that the clouds you're looking at that are basically spewed out of the back of a jet are chemical, yes, but they are also, they can, if they're zapped with radio frequency, and they are, and microwave, then they become plasma. And what we have now are clouds that have almost no moisture whatsoever in them, but they are plasmic clouds. And what this means, plasma is the fourth state of matter. It's often in a gas or a fiery state. And plasma actually is 99.9% of the universe is made of plasma. And so plasma physics is the hot topic in military science today. Many experiments are going on with the plasma being created in the skies. And that's where the global warming comes from, because this plasma cloud cover is actually made from heat and chemicals. It's like you heat chemicals in a lab. So there is a real heat problem that some of the geoengineering may be hoping to address and redress, because if this gets too out of hand, you can imagine the problem we'll have, because this cirrus cloud cover that is basically made of plasma clouds is very insulating. It's like we're living in a little incubator now. And that in itself plays very heavily into the biologicals that are raining down on us, that we're breathing, that are living in our bodies as hosts, such as Morgellons. I understand you had Clifford Carnicom on at one time. Yep. And certainly Sophia Smallstorm does great work in presenting on the synthetic biology going on from the skies and water and GMO foods, etc. So I wanted to make that clear to people that these are not the clouds. These are not moisture-laden clouds.
These are not your grandparents' clouds.
No, not at all. Not
They're
at all.
High tech.
Yeah, and so with that said, I'll just, there's so much we could just spend all our time on that. But let me go to the space fence as you requested. This is now my big interest, because the space fence is, just to look at it as the HARP experiments that ran for about 10 years, 15 years, were absolutely essential to draw energy down from the ionosphere into the lower atmosphere, and then to find ways to maintain it. And the best way to maintain it, besides using radio frequency and the chemicals coming from the chemtrails, is to keep weather systems powerful and utilize them. So that played very nicely into 15, 20 years of weather experiments. And of course, the military has been interested in controlling the weather for many hundreds of years, I could even say, because how many battles have been spoiled? The success in battles has been spoiled by weather. So yes, that's very important. But even more important to the military, now that it has casting its eyes on space, is to be able to control the lower atmosphere. Absolutely. Because now they seek to control the near-Earth orbit, which would be, above our planet, all the way up to the ionosphere, out into the magnetosphere, and this control is what they have their eyes on. So first to control the weather in the lower atmosphere. Also, because of all the communications that are needed, to sell the public on wireless, absolutely, give them the cell phones, give them all the cool technology, so that you can build all those towers that you need to generate the communications, what they call C4, command, control, communications, and cyber warfare. You can build the lower atmosphere to be absolutely battery ready, antenna ready, electricity ready, 24/7 for all the military operations that are in preparation for control over the entire planet, full spectrum dominance. And that is a doctrine of the military. That's their words. So,
well, my mind's blown. I don't know about you from what I just heard.
Yeah, this is it. And how this is being done, and this is where the Space Fence book comes in, is I spell out every single piece of hardware, groundwork, radar installations, NEXRADs, wind farms, fracking operations, XBSs, which are basically mini HARPs out on oil platforms, ready and able to be able to set up a weather operation to threaten and force nations into obedience to a one world government, which will then avail them of actual possibility of controlling the entire planet and the near-Earth orbit of the planet. Yeah, that's what's going on.
Wow. So, Elana, is it? Do you think that it is a tool that they're using to mitigate or help combat climate change, or is it something that's actually causing climate change?
Well, no, it's causing it. But what I wanted to say was that because the warming in effect of creating plasma skies that are battery ready will absolutely incubate and end in warming. Absolutely. And look at it. We live in a Wi-Fi world. What do you think it's doing? It's warming. It's all warming. So they have to find a way not to mitigate, but to control it. Yes, control it. And so that's part of the geoengineering objectives. I'm sure of it. But at the same time, they're readying the environment. They're weaponizing the environment for use in space wars.
Well,
Absolutely.
Can they also use it to weaponize our environment down here? Like many people have talked about how geoengineering has been used to manufacture the drought in California, and how you've seen satellite images of these lines of clouds that go straight across the ocean, and it blocks all the moisture from coming into the mainland USA.
Could they be north south?
Yeah, even further south.
What they do is yes, but but again, that's what I was saying. This is California was unfortunate for California, and that it's our breadbasket. Also, it has to do with experimentation regarding control over areas of our nation right now for the experiments, but with the idea of being able to control anywhere in the world with drought to muscle that nation into obedience to whatever the global government wants.
We've got about 4.5 minutes left on our Shaw portion, Elana. I don't want to interrupt you here, but let's go back to the space fence.
That is the space fence. We're still talking about the space fence.
Good.
But the one thing I haven't said about the space fence that you need to have as a picture in your mind is that every rocket launch now, no matter what they tell you, and that would include Elon Musk's rockets, any private government, doesn't matter, all rocket launches will be spewing aluminum oxide and lithium and other metals on a nano scale all the way up to near Earth orbit, where they will then begin to orbit because of what they have to do, and they will eventually settle around the equator in a ring that, if you were to see it from space, will definitely look like Saturn. And that will be the lockdown. That's the lockdown between the groundworks that are radar, that are microwaving and radio frequencing, and what's around the planet. This creates a very nice lockdown for surveillance beyond belief, down to the DNA level.
I have to point something out, because we just had Jordan Maxwell on our show a couple weeks ago, occult researcher, expert, and he talked about Saturn.
And how it all comes back to Saturn.
It all comes back to Saturn.
And they're turning Earth into Saturn.
And Saturn brotherhoods.
There has to be some good news. There has to be something that we can do to combat or fight back, or we can't just leave our viewers feeling powerless about this. What can we do? How do we fight back?
In 1 minute?
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding.
we can talk more about how we can fight back, but what's a couple of things that people can do?
Well, first of all, which all Americans, and it sounds like Canadians too, look down on, is knowledge. Knowledge is power, and so many people are ignorant of this technology. Why do you think I'm pouring years of my life, when I could be doing some other really valuable things, into this, to awaken the public to knowledge of this? We must know how it works in order to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
Period.
And that's what we've been doing, and I think that a lot of people in Victoria have become more aware of chemtrails, geoengineering, because of our show, because of our activism, and because we bring qualified speakers like yourself, like Clifford Carnicom, Suzanne Marr, Sophia Smallstorm. We're here to educate the public that this isn't conspiracy theory. It's not just water vapor and contrails in the sky. This is serious.
Well, we've been hosting movie nights at Gorgeous Coffee, 300 Gorge Road West, where people can come and meet with us.
I'm not dissing you for the work you're doing.
Absolutely.
If anything, I'm frustrated because nobody reads anymore.
Yeah.
And unless you read, and reading produces a certain type of thinking that watching videos and listening to radio shows does not do.
Yeah.
Unless we really take a grip on this, I mean, it's already too late to stop these guys. Sorry about that. There's no pill we can take, either red or blue. But what we can do is prepare ourselves and the youths coming up who are going to get the full brunt of this. You see what I mean? And my last bit of hope that I can offer is no bid for world empire has ever worked.
No,
and this one won't either.
The good guys always win. We're going to end our Shaw portion here, but you're good to stick around and talk to us more after on our online segment, Elana. You'll stick around for a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So if you want to see the rest of the show, go to freedomfreeforall.com, find us online. We will be back next Tuesday and every Tuesday, talking about issues that matter to Victoria, the local area, globally. We care about freedom, environment, passion. We will see you next Tuesday. Be safe and be free. Hi, I'm Josh Steffler from Freedom Free for All Television. I'm here with Dr. Tim Ball. We've just had a really good show about climate change, and often, Tim, the argument comes up. You see it on Facebook, social media. 97% of the scientists agree that climate change is an issue. So in a minute or less, can you destroy that 97% argument and we can put it to bed?
Yeah, very simply, that's a consensus, and science isn't about consensus. As Einstein said, I can have 100 things that prove me right, one thing proves me wrong, it's done. But consensus is a political argument. It grew out of Al Gore's comment that the science is settled, the debate is over. So once the majority, that's it. But the number was the 97% number was actually created by John Cook out of Queensland University in Australia. And what he did was that he took 11,400 and some journal articles, and he identified them as being pro-global warming or not. And it was published as that, in the 97% figure, and of course Obama's repeating it. But people like Lord Monckton and others went and broke it down, and by their own definition, only 41 of the 11,400 articles were pro-global warming. And so that meant that it was actually, what they put out as 97% result was actually 0.3%.
So it's just propaganda.
It's just propaganda, and it was deliberately created. The journal that published the article withdrew the article. And so
there you have it. The argument's destroyed.
Yes.
FreedomFreeForAll.com, 97% of the scientists don't agree. Check out Dr. Tim Ball at timball.com, Freedom Free for All at freedomfreeforall.com. Be safe and be free.
On
okay,
those 10.
We're back. Welcome back to Freedom Free for All. We are joined with Elana Freeland. We have been talking about the space shield, geoengineering, deep level stuff. You know chemtrails are real. We know chemtrails are real. And it's way past the time to talk about whether or not it's an internet hoax or if it's just water vapor. Educate yourself, and we're here to help you with that path by bringing on guests like Elana to help bring you to the point where you know enough that you can actually do something about this.
So Elana, can you jump right in on was it 7 or maybe even 10 military operations?
7, yeah.
7, right.
Yeah, okay. So can I just kind of whip through them, and you can stop
please.
Me if you have
We have
questions.
It up on screen here, so yeah.
The way I look at it is where I'm really helpful to people is to give you a context of what you're witnessing, something that you're perceiving, and we all know that a lot of people are not perceiving it. But part of the problem is that we don't have the context by which to weigh the threat level and to understand how this can be a global system, not just an American system, not just a Canadian system. It's a global system. So these 7 operations were originally seen by independent scientist Clifford Carnicom. I have tweaked them a little bit because a lot has happened since he did that in 2005. So I'm going to just go through them. All right, the first operation that we all can see is weather and environment modification and warfare. Mm-hmm. And the reason I put it that way is that what we have is a weather warfare, and in that this can force, this is what lies at the very core of disaster capitalism that Naomi Klein popularized with her book, The Shock Doctrine, years ago. This is disaster capitalism. These people, the fat cats, who are on the inside and know when weather, like earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes are going to happen in certain areas, they can pick up weather derivatives, whether there's disaster to a certain extent or not, they will still profit by their backing through the weather derivatives. This is a very big money maker now, particularly through the Chicago Mercantile. So it's weather warfare in the sense, just like war, it makes money for fat cats. It can also be used to blackmail countries into obedience, such as we produced a drought in, if you'll recall, in Iran several years ago. And the only thing is that the Iranian president came on the air that went around the world and said that's what we were doing. Of course, our government denied it. Then there was what happened at Fukushima. I have a chapter in my book that will lay out to you exactly why I believe that was purposely done. So, and then there's environmental modification and warfare. Turning the Earth into a weapon, weaponizing all the systems to one degree or another. This is all part of military full spectrum dominance. Okay, second one, planetary and geophysical operations. I already mentioned to you the plasma cloud cover, this producing plasma in the skies, in the troposphere and the stratosphere, really helps with the C4, command, control, communications, and cyber warfare. Many experiments are going on. People are seeing spirals in the air. They're seeing plasma orbs flying. They're seeing rainbowy looking things and all sorts. They're hearing noises. They're hearing loud noises. All of this has to do with various geophysical and planetary operations as they're up there producing their own Birkeland currents, producing their own Alphen waves, producing their own plasma. This is like playland up there in the atmosphere for the scientists that work with, and for government monies. So then the third one is electromagnetic operations. This has been a heyday for things like laser. Laser is essential to many aspects of weather creation, and as a weapon. Many electromagnetic operations happen wirelessly. One of them, and I'll talk about it, I think it's one of the ones further down the list. One, of course, would be mind control and targeting of individuals. To have a plasma-ready, battery-ready atmosphere is just a heyday for directed energy weapons. Okay, that's the next one, directed energy weapon operations. This is the name of the game. It isn't about missiles anymore, though missiles can be, conventional warfare can still be used in small ways. But really, the one that nobody's talking about is directed energy warfare. And we saw a huge moment of it in New York on September 11, 2001. That was a directed energy weapon showcase, you might say, that 3,000 people paid for with their lives. Huh?
Oh, I was just saying 9/11.
Yes, 9/11. Yeah. And that the book to see for that is of course Where Did the Towers Go by Dr. Judy Wood. Then the fifth one is biological and transhumanism operations. I maintain this is the key one that I'm going to go into in the third book on synthetic biology, and that Sophia Smallstorm has done a great deal of work in. This is really pivotal, because if you have sensors, biological engineered entities, and microprocessors in people's bodies and brains, then pulsing frequencies in order to control populations is a piece of cake. So this is really LNs and the use of fungi from the upper atmosphere being brought into the lower atmosphere and sort of planted in the hosts of human bodies is all about discovering more about what it is to be human and what kind of human they want instead. And transhumanism operations have already begun. Cloning has already begun.
Oh, yes.
All of these things are in process now, and we are speeding toward this inevitability. And at this point in my research, I'm simply trying to help people see it, so that we and we are all experimenting with how to take care of ourselves, how to keep our immune system strong. This is what will be needed, and this is, to me, this is the big one. If there's a big one in this list of 7, this is it, because our humanity may depend upon our ability to see how it all works together and holds our biology right in the middle of it as something that can be controlled, absolutely. The 6th one is surveillance and neural operations. That's basically mind control. So when Edward Snowden told us that, we had to think about surveillance from the NSA, I think he knew much more, but could not risk saying what he knew. And that he knows the direction we're going in neural operations now. Besides remote neural monitoring, if you have these nano bots in people's bodies and you can program them remotely, then you pretty much have the dragon by the tail on surveillance and control over the human nervous system. Then the 7th is the most far out, I suppose you'd say, it would be one way. Detection and obscuration of exotic propulsion systems. We are seeing many different things in the sky, and people immediately jump to thinking UFOs and aliens. But let's not jump too fast, because some of those operations going on in the sky are very human, and that would include some people, such as Sean Gautreaux in New Orleans, has a site called What is in Our Skies. And the people sending in photographs there, a lot of them infrared, are seeing ships hiding in the cloud cover. And some of them are triangular. Those would be ours, would be my guess, like the Aurora. And the TRB-3 and others. And then there are other things, pulsating plasma orbs. Certainly NASA has shown us much film footage of, particularly from the space shuttle days, of these plasma orbs that pulsate as though they have a heart at their center. And so there are entities that I believe, along with Wilhelm Reich and Trevor Constable, and others, there are entities that have lived in the ocean of space, quote unquote, from the Vedas, thousands of years old. They have lived here much longer than we have, and they are being drawn to our atmosphere now because it is so plasma rich. So that gives you an idea of how vast and huge
it's enormous.
The spectrum is beyond weather, and beyond the idea of population decrease. Though population decrease is a piece of cake now, easy. But I think that they gain a lot from the suffering of people who then go to doctors and hospitals and clinics, and then they hack into their records and see what they're doing. And I think that it's still quite experimental, but at the same time, it's moving at a tremendously rapid pace, particularly the transhumanism operations.
So I've had many people question me when discussing geoengineering and chemtrails, is that if the elites are doing this and really want to kill us all, what protects them from this stuff?
They have, it's just like when the AIDS was created through Dr. Robert Gallo and the World Health Organization. They created it. They had the antidote. And to be on the inside club, I think there's a very high carrot on the stick, carrot before the nose of these people is you want to be on the inside club because you will be protected. I think they must have, they're building their mansions underground now. They obviously know something is coming.
Military bases.
And their filter systems must be just state of the art. They must have state of the art everything.
They're using way more than just off the shelf HEPA air filters.
They had state of the art 25, 30 years ago.
And their food and everything. Oh, yeah, they live very differently from us.
So they're not running to McDonald's for chicken nugget Happy Meals and...
No, I don't think so. In fact, I just got an email from a woman today in Oregon who went out so happy to have a few of her strawberries. They finally ripened up, and she takes them inside and puts them under her 100-power microscope, and they're loaded with fibers.
We're looking at that right now on the screen. That's heartbreaking.
Well, we've always had parasitic, symbiotic, and otherwise organisms living in us. We have thousands of them, and these are just more. But the problem is these are very, very. These are remotely operated and affected. They become very active around Wi-Fi environments. Everybody's living in a Wi-Fi environment and wondering why they feel that like their skin is crawling. These entities are what they are, and we need to learn about them, and we need to treat our bodies with great respect now. I mean, one of the things that people can do right away is they love Clifford Carnicom discovered this a few years ago. They love acidity, and they reproduce like crazy in acid environments, but they hate alkalinity. So, keep your body alkaline. Pee on some pH paper in the morning and see where you're at, and then find out, do some study, due diligence to find out what foods produce alkalinity and what foods produce acidity. That's just one of the things that can be done. Wow. I'm sure Suzanne must have told you all the things she's doing.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Yeah, she discussed quite a few different things that she's doing to pull the fibers out of her body, and I can't remember what the stuff that she was taking is called, but it's in our archives. So I think we've got to wrap up our show tonight with you, Elana. Is there any final thoughts that you'd like to leave with our viewers?
Well, I recommend, if people want to learn more about this, I am having a blog site created, but that won't be ready for a while. I would go and ask to be a member of my closed Facebook page, Elana Freeland, Chemtrails, HARP, and the Full Spectrum. I have over 3,000 members, and I keep it very pristine so that we are simply learning about the science as much, and the politics. And this includes targeted individuals. This includes anything whereby the technology is being used for any of these 7 operations.
And where can people find your books?
Amazon and Feral House. Feral House is the publisher, so either place. And then I heard there was a free site of the book up somewhere on the web. I haven't seen it, but I heard
once it's up
there.
on the web, you can find everything for free.
Everything's on the web.
Well, I really want to thank you for coming on to our show. It has been an amazing hour. The time has just flown by, and we've got to have you on again. Especially once you're ready with your 3rd book in the trilogy. We will have to have you back on.
Okay.
What does the future look like for you? What do you got going on in the coming year here? Any seminars or upcoming shows you want to promote?
No, not particularly. I mean, I write other things. I just wanted to mention that before I got involved in this movement, I wrote a 4-book series called Sub Rosa America and the Deep State, and they are fictional books based on history of America since Kennedy's assassination. I had tea with Kennedy in the Rose Garden 4 months before he was murdered like a dog in Dallas, and so I set myself the task of writing the history of the deep state that did this and was rewarded over and over for having done it, and the importance of that one event to the everything else that has followed in America since. So my Sub Rosa America series is up on the web, and it's, a lot of people say, oh, I don't read fiction, I don't have time for fiction. This is fiction on the most shallow of levels. This is history. Right. This is the history of the United States, and I go deep into the occult, because that's the way America is.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned people don't want to read fiction anymore when they're reading it every day when they pick up their local papers and they're reading New York Times and they're watching fiction when they're watching their local action news.
That's disinformation. Don't besmirch the word fiction.
Yeah, we shouldn't besmirch fiction. Fiction can be fun. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on, Elana. To our viewers watching live online, thank you very much. We appreciate all your support. If you like this video, share it around, subscribe to our YouTube channel, join us on Facebook. We've got a pretty active Facebook page, Freedom Free for All. Tons of memes. Adam's putting up new articles every day. We host weekly meetings every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. or at 6:30 p.m. at Gorgeous Coffee, 300 Gorge Road West. We got a lot of stuff planned for this summer. The Truth Truck Canada Day is coming. 9/11's coming. We're going to have a big 9/11 event. So stay tuned to Freedom Free for All. Be safe and be free.